All right. All right. Let's see. I hope this works. Ladies and gentlemen, on the phone right now, calling in is author Lynette Fromme. Red, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, you
Can you
can.
hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, okay. This is what we're gonna. Yeah, what we're gonna do really quickly is we're gonna do like a little sound check, and
Okay.
I'm just gonna ask the audience. Can you guys hear her? Okay. Just Lynette, real quickly. Let's just clarify the your name.
Three, two, one, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Three, two, one.
Okay. Can you hear
Yeah. Can you guys
me?
hear? Yeah. You actually sounds like it's coming in fine here. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it sounds like it's
So
coming.
somebody will call you if there's any dispute.
Right now they're saying it sounds good. Right now they're saying they say it sounds great. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, awesome. First of all, I just want to say it's just awesome to have you on here. It's great. Thank you so much for coming on here. I absolutely love your book. It is fantastic, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But a couple of things at first. One of the things I get, one of the emails I get from people is just like how do people like you know me? Like how did we meet? How did I become friends with you? And real quickly, can we just start off really? Could you tell my audience like how did you find out about me? Like how did you even know who
Blue,
I was?
blue, blue.
What did she
I
tell?
found out about you from Blue. She was impressed with what you've done with the Spawn Ranch property, which it belongs to the state now. Is that right?
Yes, it's a state park. Yes.
Yeah. And she she told me about you, and she gave me all kinds of details, which she is prone to do, and I don't remember them all, but all I know is that she was very happy with what you were doing there, and your concern for the land itself, for the trees and the water and so forth, and just cleaning it up, just making sure that uh, there was no glass or foreign matter that would impede people's trips
Right.
if they wanted to go through there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, see there, that's what I was trying to explain to people. That's great. I'm glad Blue told you about that. And I'm glad that now we've never met. We've actually just started talking on the phone. Now we've been in contact through the mail, and that's great too. And I just appreciate everything you've
Well,
done.
I've talked to you. This is the second time I've talked to you,
Oh yeah, the second time I
and
talked to you, we've texted and stuff a couple of times. And we've
we've
actually I have all
exchanged.
the letters. I got all the letters that you've sent and everything, which is great. And which is yeah. So no, we've been in contact with each other, and that's just phenomenal. And I've met Blue and everything. Oh, really quickly, and I don't know if you can see the set or not. I don't know if you can see me or not, but if you could on the set right here, I actually have the jacket that you sent me. Um, so I have your jacket that you had used when you escaped from that federal prison in Virginia. So I actually have it on display here on the set right now, and I'm going to thank you
You
very.
do?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that jacket has a history at your house, but I won't even go into that right now.
Oh, and I just want to thank you for sending it to me. It's just great for I have that, and and I've always will keep it. It's great. I actually have it in a nice big display case and everything too, which is great. So okay, another thing I want to get out of the way too is your last name. Now I know you've been on Church of Rock Radio with Reverend Moody, and he said the same thing too. He pronounces your name, your last name is pronounced Fromme. Your name is Lynette Fromme. I know for 53 years now the media is, Squeaky Fromme, and everybody probably knows you more by that name, but that's not the way your last name is pronounced. And can you just say it for us right now? The proper, I mean, I know it's Fromme, but can you just say your last name for us?
Yes, it is Fromme, and it's been Fromme for my whole life. But when I was in school as a kid, um, I didn't like when the teachers would ask me, so I just went along with whatever way they pronounced it. I didn't like to be singled out. I had red hair, and back then, having red hair kind of made you stick out, and I wasn't psychologically prepared for that. So I preferred to go along with whatever people said, and that accounts for the discrepancies.
Wow, 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 wow.
I mean, a lot of it is.
Right.
But anyway, that's it. Fromme is the way it's
Fromme.
pronounced.
Right, Lynette
It's
Fromme.
German.
Right.
There are Fromme, I believe, is a Yiddish or German, I mean, a Jewish pronunciation without the E, and at least that's what I've been told. And I've seen different people named Fromme, and I've seen very few actually, but a few people named Fromme. And
really?
yeah,
interesting.
Not too many.
Right. Right. Awesome. All right. Wow. Wow. Oh, great. Okay. Great. 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 All right. Well, let's get into your book here. First of all, I have to say your book is phenomenal. I read your book. It is very, very good. Now, the way I look at your book, to me, it's like reading a little girl's diary, but it really is good because it lays down a foundation and shows you a version of Charlie that we don't know. I understand for the last 53 years the media has portrayed, Charlie and everybody as this evil person who would hate everything and kick a cat and all this stuff, and he's just a mean guy or whatever. That's what for 53 years. That's what the media has done to portray Charlie. But in this book, you show an absolute different side. And I learned a lot of different things in your book. One of the things I learned, first of all, I didn't realize that Bobby Beausoleil had a baby with Linda Kasabian, and I did not know that until I read your book. And I thought, wow.
Well, this is coming from Gypsy. Linda told Gypsy that she knew the minute she got pregnant, and that she knew that this was Bobby's child. Now, her personal story, whatever she and her son have an understanding of, I don't know. Right. I just know that what she told Gypsy, and I didn't doubt it. Gypsy was not prone to making up stories like Susan was.
Right, and that's what it was just so interesting when I read that. I did not know that. I understand, he had a trial with Sandy and with Kitty and with Gail, but then I saw you said Lyndon, and I was like just blown away. But let me also say this, and for those of you that haven't read the book, I'm gonna do it's like a little spoiler alert right now because this is absolutely my favorite part of your book. This is the story, and I want you to elaborate on this. Manson had such a great relationship with Mary Bruner's dog Muffet. He loved that dog Muffet, and can you just tell me what was it like when Muffet ran away in Santa Barbara and Manson lost Muffet and it was gone?
Well, you forgot to mention that they had discussed finding her a home when they were in the car, and Mary expressed, sadness, but she agreed that it was not fair to Muffet to keep her in the car all the time. The strange thing was that when she got out of the car, she disappeared, and they couldn't find her. And then when they did find her, she was getting handouts down at the hamburger stand. He was very sensitive to her, and yet I feel now that I know more about dogs, I would not have wanted to just let her go.
Right.
But she was resourceful, and it was interesting that it was only after this conversation they had about finding her a different home that she disappeared. She had never done that before. So it seemed very much like she understood what they intended, what they were talking about. Yeah, they are so smart, these little animals. And they're not little, but, I think of them as being our responsibility. But all these different animals in the world are struggling under whatever humans put out as far as pollution and destruction of habitat and all of that. We recently watched a Netflix documentary called The Island of the Sea Wolves, and the photography is fantastic, and I would recommend that to any of your listeners, because these animals are something to behold and something to revere, and their instincts speak so much about God and life and its struggle to survive, and it tells us, how spoiled humans are. Actually, that's the way I feel. I feel like we have become very soft and involved in a lot of just garbage, it seems important to us and is really just egotistical. The main things that are important are our air, our water, and anything that supports that, the health of the soil. The soil should be rich in life. Nowadays, particularly in the middle of California, where so many of the vegetables and fruits are grown, the soil has to be pumped up with artificial chemicals, and there's not enough water anymore. We're in a crisis, and it's a ATWA, air, trees, water, animals. It sounds very simplistic. It sounds basic, but you know what? Those are the things we need. Those are the simple things we require, or any life requires, in order to stay alive. So that's where my heart is. That's where my mind is. There's very little I can do, but I look for it, and my mind is on it in order to keep priorities straight. I sometimes get off on looking at what people think, and this conspiracy and that conspiracy, and all the factions. People are so dumb. People are dumb.
No, they are. You're right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking.
Do you think there's anybody right now, any kind of like celebrity or anybody or whoever, that is on the level that you and Sandy were back then for activism for the planet? I mean, who do you think right now is even leading that, or is it gone? And is there not meaning you and Sandy, meaning just any of these rich people that are out there, celebrities pretty much? Is there anybody, in your opinion, helping the environment?
Oh, I'm sure there are. I am sure of it, because every once in a while I get a peek at something that's broadcast, a documentary of some sort, where people are actually trying to protect some corner of the world, some species. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And when you put money behind such things, you are funding the future. But when you put it behind some of the other bullshit, you are not serving life, and you eventually will go up in flames, I guess.
Right.
I want to be able to take my last breath feeling that I've done what I could. Feeling that there will be an earth and animals and air and water for those who appreciate it and can hold on, because I think we're in for rough times.
We are. I mean, believe me, I don't know if you've seen any of my videos, but I've made videos here in California about the lakes here, Lake Folsom and stuff, drying up, and I've shown people how much they were receding. In July, I was able to go paddleboarding with my girlfriend, and we would launch from a certain point. We came back 30 days later. Well, the water had receded at least another 300 feet, which was just amazing. And that's a lot of body of water right there just in 30 days. So you're right. California as a state is That's the one thing we don't have. We have no water. Well, I mean, we have no water, and it's sad to say this.
Who would have thought? We had people. Yeah, I'll tell you something. A story. When we were in prison in West Virginia, Blue she felt so strongly about the water waste that some of these city girls were used to. They'd go in, turn on the shower, and just leave it running. They'd walk outside. They'd play. They were reserving the shower for themselves. And it was a power move, but we would just go in and turn it off. But Blue got into a fight with a girl from Texas, and she ended up coming up to where I was. I was stuck in what we used to call the hole, but
Right.
It wasn't a hole. It was just isolation.
Right.
So she ended up being punished for this fight she had with this girl over the water. And the girl said, "Water's everywhere. You are so," called her all kinds of names, told her how stupid she was, that water was cheap, water is everywhere, there's no, and about 2 years later, maybe a little more, this girl got out of prison, went back to Texas, and there was a big drought. And I remember being aware that this woman, she probably didn't reckon with it at the time, but she eventually would have to be aware that there were all kinds of water issues, and that it is not cheap, and that it is not all clean, and that there's dirty water everywhere. And for some stupid reason, humans decided to build their factories all along rivers and flush all their waste into the water.
Right.
So, we can't claim to be so superior. We have to be humbled enough to recognize that we make mistakes as humans, And then once you got that down, you figure out how to correct them. And of course we can if we want to.
Wow, that was great. Now I'm reading a lot of the chat room. We have a lot of people. Let me tell you right now, Lynette, I've actually set the record for viewers of my show. There's about 250 people that are watching right now, and they're talking in the chat room, and they're all saying a lot of great stuff. They didn't know. A lot of people did not know that you and Sandy were in jail together at the same time. So, and how long were you guys together in prison? Was it a short time, or just, a long time? Or I think that's the thing. People were like, they knew that you guys had done time, but they just didn't realize that you guys were done, together.
I would say we were together at least 10 years.
Wow.
We were together in the Sacramento County Jail. It's funny because, I have so many memories of that. She was great support when I was in jail, and then she got arrested for the letters that she and Heather Murphy had put together and mailed. They mailed a fraction of the letters that they had addressed, and actually I think I don't know. Oh, I know where they were. They were in our apartment when I walked off that morning thinking, I've got to take this opportunity to see Ford. And so I was going to see Ford. We had been talking to all these different people about the condition of the waterways in particular, and to stop putting poison in our water. How stupid can humans be? They thought that the waterways would absorb it and it would go away. And so anyway, we we were doing this, and we prepared these letters for people who worked in occupations that were polluting. And we got envelopes. We found envelopes that were already franked, and it turned out that they were from a monastery somewhere in San Francisco.
Right.
Anyway, they were all addressed. Blue and Heather had gone to the libraries and looked in certain business books. Moody, let me see, what were they? Anyway, they at the time they gave the addresses of all the CEOs and all these people. So they had compiled thousands. I mean, really, they got a whole lot of thousands of addresses.
Right.
And the FBI said it was like 3,000. Anyway, we had all these envelopes addressed, but when I went out that day, the envelopes were still in the house. A lot of them were. So they were confiscated. But then the FBI notified all these different people that they were on our list. So we were telling them, look, we don't want to cause any harm, but you have to change behaviors or jobs. And we were trying to make something happen that's been happening over the last 50 years. We wanted it to happen right away.
Right.
But I feel we were basically right. We were kind of young and idealistic, and I don't like the idea that we were violent, but we were using the Tate-LaBianca murders for that purpose. So yeah, we were terrorists, and we wanted people to understand that there's going to be violence, and there would be a lot of blood, and people would be going crazy and not understanding why. And so actually it has come to pass, and these terrible school shootings and things like that have happened, and people don't understand it. But a big part of it is that there's no central belief system. There are no examples of heart and soul. There are no good places to put your energy if you're a young person. We wanted to do like CCC camps that were done in the 30s and 40s. A place where you could go into the woods. You'd have your house and your basic supplies and your food, and you would do and learn certain skills that are, that are helpful. Plus, you could do creative skills. And I think most people need something creative to do. They need to be able to fashion wood or draw, or, they need, in other words, during the 30s, there were these programs that employed people to like paint murals in the post office and stuff like that. And they were interesting, and they still are if somebody hasn't painted over them. They're real interesting. In the Los Angeles post office, one of the Los Angeles post offices, there were murals of, most of them look like the artist, is what I was told. It was a Hispanic man, perhaps Indian, native Indian, and all of the faces kind of resemble him, but it shows Pueblo scenes. It shows a lot of life scenes, and so that sort of thing I think any society craves true artistry and handcrafts when they're done with love for a purpose. Yeah. So that's the only thing I feel like what we were thinking was really good. I don't know what people are thinking now to unite them.
Right. That's right. What are they thinking now? That is a very good question. Wow. All right. What's going on, everybody? Stoner Van Houten. It's 4:39 p.m. here. I'm talking with author Lynette Fromme. And if you want to pick up a copy of her book, Reflection, you can always go to, I recommend going to goodbyehelterskelter.com, which is run by George Stimson. You can pick up a copy there and tell George that you heard about the book through my show. All right. Now, I want to get back to your book really quickly because I still have some people who have some questions about your book. And I just want to,
Yeah, listen, I don't mean to go on and on. I'm just
no, it's fine.
reminiscing.
What you said there was probably the most important thing that needed to be said about the environment. Trust me. What you said there was absolutely true, straight from the heart, and it needed to be said because you're absolutely right, Lynette, especially California. We have no water. We have no water. I'm not kidding.
That is sad. No, that is so sad.
It is. If you can't, I made a video about it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I made a video about Lake Folsom, and it's drying up. There's certain, you can walk across it now, for Christ's sake, at certain parts.
Oh my God.
Yes, I know. And not just that lake, but there are other lakes. If you look at California and how much water we had, say, 10 years ago, maybe 15 years, there's nothing. We need rain and snow of biblical proportion.
Right.
It's sad. I hate to laugh. I'm sorry to laugh. That's sad. I shouldn't be laughing. It's sad. It's sad. It is.
No, I get it.
It's horrible.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick about your book. Okay, so people want to know. I don't know why, but on page 333 in your book, you were at Barker Ranch, and you were saying that during the summer that you had hunters and miners, and the military were using that road up Guller Wash. What one person wants to know is what branch of the military was going up there, and were they wearing uniforms, and did you guys talk to them?
It was Army, as far as I know, the green, very green. They had a base over there. They had a base.
No, I know they had. Yeah, I know that area.
Yeah. So sometimes they would take that road. The park rangers were up that way, so I guess all of the military knew those roads. They'd go off into the, in the desert. Most people that were out there just loved to get away from civilization.
Right.
So-called civilization, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Also in your book, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but you speak about Charlene Craftsris. Is that Charlene? I can't pronounce her right, the last name there. But who was a wealthy heiress that gave Manson money. But when you say in your book, when you stayed at her ranch, what gave you the idea that it was a brothel of sorts?
Well, she kind of looked like she was dressed for the part, but I don't know. I think what gave me the idea was because it's legal in Nevada, and prostitution is legal. And Charlie had known women in the business, and he knew the business, and so I thought maybe that was what she was doing. He didn't reveal either her financial status or her business at all. He just offered her a place where she could come if she wanted to be with us.
Right.
Because his most important point was that we stayed together, that we were a family, that he was tempted to leave a number of times, but he wasn't going anywhere because it meant something to him. And it meant something to all of us. We had pooled our love together, and now I don't use that word very often because love has, through the generations, it was used for commercials and all that, and it became a cereal, I think, or maybe that was life. But anyway.
Oh no. How did Charlie meet Charlene?
What?
Do you know how Charlie met?
Yeah,
Charlene?
He met her at a party in Beverly Hills.
Wow. Nice. All right.
But she was wanting to be the boss.
Right.
And he wasn't going to go for that. So that was that. And so while on one hand he did not talk about her or anybody that I recall, he was very private about his relationships with all of us. It's not that he was being secretive, but that each relationship was different. Right. And he didn't set us up opposed to each other in some kind of competition or anything like that. No.
Wow. Okay. Another thing I love in your book is you explain how you guys acquired the bus and you're living with that poor family for what was it, like a month or something like that, and they had all these kids, and you were, and what were you guys doing there that entire time? Like just fixing the bus up, and what did he trade it for? Like, it's not, was that when Charlie had the Mustang and he traded it, or what? Like, I just love the story of how you acquired.
No.
Right.
The Mustang was much later.
Okay.
This was when we were getting a bigger vehicle. We needed we needed a bigger bus. We had 3 of us girls at the time, but not too long later, there was Susan and Ella and several people from their house on Lion Street in San Francisco, and people wanted to come along.
Right.
People said, "Can we come?" And we said, who are we to make that call? And then there was a guy, a very spoiled, I don't know, he didn't like himself very well. He decided that he wanted the bus. And so we got off.
Right.
And we hitchhiked, and we found Topanga Canyon Lane. We found a house that was left by a woman who was wealthy. She had this extra house, and she allowed anybody to live in it. And so we were good there until other people came in who thought they should be the proprietors, or they had the say. We weren't trying to own anything, and didn't. So when this bully guy came in, that was something that, even though I had lived with Charlie for about a year, I was stunned. When he walked into the room with this maniac, and the guy had a knife, and Charlie turned his back to him, what he was basically telling the guy, I think, is, "You're bluffing." But I didn't know that. I mean, this guy looked for real to me, and his knife certainly looked for real, but he did not stab Charlie. And it was the first time, I think, that I realized that Charlie put himself in front of us and wouldn't allow anybody to hurt us. He consistently fronted. He put himself in front of us. Now that ended up being bad because he got blamed for us.
Right, he got blamed.
He got blamed.
Right.
Yeah, he got blamed for
everything.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Okay, wow, okay. Wow, that is just phenomenal. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff with your book. Now, my audience has some questions, and there's so many of them, and I'm only picking the nicest ones I have. But this one woman in the audience, she wants to know that she says here that you were an avid reader in high school, and you read a lot in high school, and you did a lot of poetry. Do you still do that to this day? And were you doing a lot of writing and poetry in prison?
Poetry is images. What I liked is finding different ways to say something. No, it's not it's not a passion. I like to write. I like finding different ways of saying something, and um, metaphors, similes, stuff like that.
Are you planning on writing another book?
No, I'm not planning on it.
Okay.
I would like to do it, but I can't seem to settle down. I live in a situation where the potential is that I have to move, and then I don't know where I would move, and a lot of things are up in the air.
Right.
So I'm not quite settled, but basically that's what I really like to do. I like to do it for purpose other than commercial. I'm not I was very disappointed to find out what had happened to the internet.
Right.
Because it's such a great, I thought, oh, this is fantastic. But then to find out all the garbage that's being funneled into it, and so many, I'm not into that now.
Wow. Okay, someone else wants to know when Charlie first heard what the Beach Boys had done to his music, were you around, and how did Charlie react? Like,
no.
You weren't?
Okay. No. That's all. That's the short answer.
Right.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
I wasn't there.
Right. And if you don't want to answer any questions, just say no comment or whatever. Yeah, that's fine.
I did not hear anything from the girls.
Okay.
Like, people would come in the house, in George's house, and talk to me, and nobody said that he was upset about it.
Did you ever go to any of those gigs when he was in the Milky Way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, the Milky Way was right there at the ranch. We had a saloon. We had a nightclub in the saloon.
So the Milky Way played in the saloon at Spawn Ranch?
Sure. Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that. That's wow. I didn't know. That's really interesting. That's insane, man. Okay. Also, somebody wants to know, do you remember a friend of Tex or Charlie's named Drew or Andrew who used to come to Spawn Ranch or the Canoga House?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Next question. Harold True wrote that Charlie and the family stayed at the Waverly Drive house between 1 week and 10 days during 1968. Do you remember this at all?
Vaguely.
Vaguely? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Awesome.
No significant memory jumps out.
What memories do you have of Mark Ross, and do you remember the van fire?
What I remember is that I wondered where had this guy come from, and I felt like he was assuming our friendliness when I didn't know who he was. I think he came with Paul Watkins, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Really, I don't know anything about him. But I heard later that Cappy and Bruce and this guy Zero and others stayed at a house he had rented. I don't know where. Maybe somewhere near the beach. And I heard what the rest of you heard, or what anyone else has heard.
Right.
I didn't know. Oh, one thing regarding a fire in his van, that would be Paul Watkins.
Right.
And Paul died a long time ago. He had candles in the van. That was my understanding. But no, we were not involved in anything having to do with a fire in Mark's van.
Mark's van. Okay, that's fine. All right. Next question here. And this one, okay. Somebody wants to know, what was the Book of the Dead, and why were some of the names written in blood? And the little bits and pieces that have come out that we've seen on the internet, or do they represent the ideologies of the commune?
No, I have read I've read little pieces of that, mistranslated as each man will take as many women with him as he ages. And I think Cappy wrote it, and I think she printed it in I think the word was goes, as each man with him as he goes. What is the ages stupid business? Anyway, a lot of things were mistranslated. I loved the way that she drew. She came decades before Harry Potter and that whole genre, right. I guess I would say. And she was beautiful. She created some beautiful images, and and her printing was lively, and you got the impression that she came from the Middle Ages or something. But I wasn't aware of what was going on then. Wow. I probably was in jail. I think that I got arrested for the hamburger business.
Right.
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 I got arrested.
Right.
So in all cases, each one of us was there or not there, and maybe, and we have impressions, and we have images, and we don't all know the same things. Each one of us is different. I just know that there was a time when the unity was the best thing in my life ever.
Right.
And I think that's what people are going for now with this former president, and I don't see it happening for me ever in
right.
that place. So all I know is there are ideals first, and that would be air, trees, water, animals, the basics first, and then let's give respect where it's due.
Right. Absolutely right. Wow, that was fantastic. Started Van Houten here. It's 4:57 p.m. here on Sunday, November 6, 2022. I'm talking with author Lynette Fromme here. Thank you so much. Hey, Lynette, I don't know if you know this, but today is Bobby Beausoleil's 75th birthday.
I know. I love Bobby.
Are you in contact with him still? Are you in contact with him or no? No. Don't answer. No.
Bobby is not benefited by any contact.
Right.
Because he's considered to be Charlie.
What?
And
Who said
Charlie
that?
is considered to be terrible.
Right.
And this doesn't bode well for anybody. That would be up to him to make that contact. But I know this, that I extend every good wish to Bobby, because he's a good man. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of heart, and I wish him to get out.
Right. What about Lynette? Do you wish her to get out? Because I actually know that Gypsy actually went to one of her parole hearings, and her attorney.
You're
had
talking
her
about Lynette.
Or,
you just mentioned Lynette.
No. I meant wait, no, I'm talking. I meant Leslie. What about
You
Leslie?
did.
Yeah. Did I say Lynette?
Yeah.
I meant.
No,
Leslie.
I don't hold it against them. Right. I love. We didn't know Leslie very well. Leslie was only there for a little bit. So was Bruce. I think Bruce was.
Well, tell us actually. Well, first of all, what about Linda? Linda only seemed like she was there for like 2.5 weeks. It seems like.
Yep. You're right.
I mean, come on. She was only there for like 15 minutes.
You are right.
You know.
And she was probably the meanest sounding girl on the whole ranch. She talked dirt. She talked shit against the cops, and she called them pigs. Well, I don't know. We just never got into that any kind of name calling before. And people say that it was Charlie that called them pigs. We didn't call them pigs. We were not of the go along crowd. But when we did say something, we meant it. So we didn't call the police pigs. Linda did.
Right.
And so I thought that was weird. I just thought she was one of these tough city girls, and had her reasons for being that. I don't judge people that way. I try to look at what do they say and what do they do.
Right. But in your book, though, the way you described the first time you met Susan Atkins, come on, you said she was annoying, she needed all the attention, and you said she smelled.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
Are you sure about that? Because I'm pretty sure it says that.
Sandy said she didn't bathe.
Oh, she didn't.
And that was way later in the book.
Okay.
What I said about her was that she talked too much. She was too loud.
Right.
She was kind of a nut. And I thought about how are we going to live with this person? So she had to be the kind of the out front person. She had to be the star. And I described her like a cat curling her tail and coming around guys. She wanted to attract attention. Mm-hmm. But she had her, I consciously made a decision not to judge her. I tried not to anyway.
Right. Well, awesome. All right, great. All right, somebody else wants to know here.
Are we good now?
We are totally good on the book. Your book, you're awesome. Are you still good? Can we ask you a couple more questions? Are we good?
Okay, couple more.
Yeah, a couple more. Okay, cool. A couple more. Okay, what everybody really wants to know is about Charles Manson's estate and how you feel about that. Are you on Jason Freeman's side, yes or no?
No, Charlie did not bequeath his goods or his estate to me. I'm done after that. I would have liked to have seen Michael Brunner receive anything of value because I love that guy. I love that little guy who used to be 2 feet tall and anyway, I have feelings there.
Right.
As far as these other opponents, I don't know what they were going to do with Charlie's stuff.
Right.
Charlie will never be replaced, in my mind, for not as long as I live. I mean, there's nothing that has ever made an impact on me as much as his love of life, his respect for the natural world, And his acknowledgement of each and every living thing around him. Not that he made a point like a baby thing and said, oh, you and you and you and you. No, he was so wise and so sharp that his intelligence impressed me, and I haven't seen the likes of it.
Wow, wow, wow. That's awesome. Can you tell me, can you just tell me a little bit about George Spahn? Was he really, really blind? Come on.
What?
Can you just tell me about George Spahn? Was he really blind? And just tell me about George Spahn, his personality, the kind of person he was, and was he really 100%
I think
blind?
I put more of George in the book than almost anybody because he ran the ranch. We gave him that ability. It was his ranch. And when we started listening to him and trying to help him out to do the things he wanted to do as an 80-plus-year-old guy, he just brightened up. He became just funny in his own way. And most of us girls had a very good relationship with him. He's like our grandfather. The girls would come in the house, give him a hug, and talk to him, and he would speak to each individual. He was not very good with the guys. I don't know what he thought. He did not tell me, but I know that we had a really good relationship with him, and we were not sleeping with him. Whoever thought that was a titillating piece to write about, it didn't enter into our reality.
Right.
I can't even tell you, before the internet, we didn't have a chance to respond to the little pieces of nonsense that were out there. So I had to just write it down and then respond to it in this book. And I hope it's enough. I just hope it's enough. Some of this book is my training. I wanted to start out as an 18-year-old and go from there. I wanted to put in some California history. To some people that would be boring. I think it's exciting. There were shipwrecks in California on the coast that are just dazzling. There was one in San Francisco I think people should know about if you're interested in that sort of thing.
Go ahead.
I didn't have a chance to put it in the book, but it was great. It was in all the San Francisco papers. I think it was just in the late 1800s. There was a ship that went down in about 15 minutes, and there were eyewitness reports in the newspaper, in the San Francisco papers. Anyway, you might want to check that out sometime. I love California. I loved growing up there. I want to go back.
Wow, nice. All right, just two really quick questions. What were the Straight Satans really like?
Oh, those guys, we had Danny there, and some of the other guys would pull up and, shine their bikes and do, there's a lot of show involved in these things. And there's quite a few of these guys, these biker guys that are shy. They won't admit to it, but some of them, what I saw was that some of them had unattractive, I shouldn't say that, but, to me it was, they had women that they could kick around.
Right.
And I just didn't like the whole thing. Then other guys had families and beautiful things going on. So a very diverse crowd of guys. They wanted Danny to stick with them, and he was over at our camp, and so there was a conflict. I can't speak too much of that,
right?
Because I wasn't there.
Right. Do you know if any of your friends ever went to the Monterey Pop Festival?
Blue.
What? She went to the Monterey Pop Festival? Really?
I think so.
Wait, so did Tex ever? Because there's a rumor saying that Tex went. Did you ever hear that?
No, I don't know. No,
Tex
was in Texas when I'm thinking.
Wait, but Blue really went to the Monterey Pop Festival. Are you? Wow.
I'm saying now. What year are you talking?
67. That's 67.
Yeah. She went. She actually hitchhiked there by herself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No way.
Now, she is a unique, tough, sturdy little creature. Very, very beautiful. In fact, I would let her talk about it.
No, but let me just say that
she liked music.
Yes. Yes, she did. She told me a story once when she was in San Francisco walking down the street, and in some parking lot there was a concert going on, and she walked over and it was actually Jimi Hendrix, but she didn't realize it was Hendrix. She's like, oh my God, it's a black guy playing guitar. And then I think it was later that day she went home, and there was something about Hendrix on the TV. She's like, hey, that's him. She didn't think much of it at the time, but she was telling me the story when she saw Hendrix, but she didn't know who he was until later.
Right. She didn't. You could talk to her about celebrities. She didn't know who was who. That wasn't her thing. She didn't keep up with the trends but she had her own sense of what was good and what was talented and she's somehow almost Magoo-ish, Mr. Magoo. Like, she would step off of a high-rise building, and a board would swing around, and as she stepped down, she was on safe ground. I mean, she was on safe base. Wow. without she is very magic. She also has a psychic kind of ability, meaning that she has a sense of things that are happening before they're even broadcast. And I found that to be true on a number of levels, and I just was amazed by her. Yeah.
Are you on the Family Jams album?
Family Jams? No.
Oh, you're not on it at all?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow. So is that like Kathy and Sandy?
She and I were on the corner of Temple and Broadway. We were the first two to go to that corner and stake it out and create a presence for, in representing our peeps inside. Right. Come here.
Wow. Wow. So, wow. So, you're not on the family? Right, go ahead.
I think we're ready to get off,
aren't we? We are totally ready to get off. Thank you. First of all, I can't thank you enough. This is absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking with author Lynette Fromme. And if you want to pick up a copy of her book, you can go to goodbyehelterskelter.com. You can also go to Amazon. Lynette, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and every time. And it was just wonderful. You can come back anytime you want. All right. Thank you for being on here. This is going to be it for the show.
I'll talk to you some other time.
I will. Yeah, just give me a call. We'll just talk whenever you want to talk. Just give me a call. It's all good. Take care, Red. Thank you. All right, everybody. That's it. It's all done. Wow, we are done. Stay tuned for the